A very good morning to everyone. This is Sri Shruti, Assistant Professor of Psychology, and today we are going to discuss about stress. Stress is nothing but a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. WHO defines that stress can be something that is a state of worry or mental tension that is caused by any difficult situation. It's actually a human's natural response that prompts us to address the challenges and threats that we are facing in our lives. Often we describe the feeling of stress as something being overwhelmed or being worried or being run down or not having the energy to deal with specific situations. Stress can affect people of all ages, genders, and circumstances and can lead to both physical and psychological health issues. When coming to the types of stress, there are two types of stress. The first is eustress, the second is distress. Eustress is something that we call it as a positive stress, and distress is something we call it as negative stress. Eustress is something, a positive state of being excited, fired up and motivated. It will help you to increase the performance and it will give you a sense of confidence and self-trust. Whereas distress makes you feel unpleasant, it makes you sweat, shaking, it will give you the feeling of being sick. It decreases performance and causes anxiety and concern. This clearly states that some amount of eustress will be beneficial and keeps us motivated and increases our performance, whereas distress will decrease the performance and cause anxiety and concern. Coming to the sources of stress, each day we face multiple number of stressors in our life. For example, life changes, move to a different city, move to a new job can cause a life change which can lead to a source of stress. Second thing, chronic stressors. There might be some family members who have been chronically ill in the family, which has been for a long time, which can cause chronic stressors. Job stressors, work pressure, timelines, deadlines, hassles, day-to-day frustrations like inability to be on time to the work, or losing a bus en route, or meeting with an accident on road. All of these will be coming under hassles. Frustration, conflicts with our family members or friends, cataclysmic events like man-made disasters or human disasters, floods, cyclones, earthquakes, these kind of things. All of these can be a source of stress. The amount of stress that we experience from each of these sources will vary, but the stress that it causes will be the same. So what kind of effects these stresses can have on our health is that extreme amount of stress can actually take a very big emotional toll on people who are experiencing it. While if all of us can overcome minor episodes of stress because the body has its own natural defense mechanism to adapt to the changing situations. But if it's there for a longer period of time, there is excessive chronic stress which is constant and persistent over a period of time. It can lead to psychological and physically debilitating symptoms. Untreated chronic stress can result in serious health conditions including anxiety, insomnia, sleeplessness during the nights, and inability to stay on bed for a longer time throughout the night, muscle pain, high blood pressure, and a weakened immune system. Research also shows that it can contribute to development of major illnesses such as heart diseases, depression, and obesity. Coming to the biology of stress, what is a stressor? A stressor is something that causes stress. It can be a stimulus or threat that can cause stress. For example, divorce, exam, death of a loved one, moving house, or losing a job can all be called as a stressor. So what can the sudden severe stress generally produce? That is, physiologically, what are the symptoms that it can produce? First thing is, it will increase the heart rate, it will increase breathing, it will decrease the digestive activity, we will not be feeling hungry, the liver will release glucose for energy. So our body judges the situation and decide whether or not it is stressful, and then activates the HPA axis. HPA axis is nothing but the hypothalamo pituitary adrenal axis. Whenever a situation is perceived to be stressful, this axis is the first biological response that is getting stimulated. The first hypothalamus gets stimulated, and hypothalamus then stimulates the pituitary, then the pituitary somehow stimulates the adrenal glands, and adrenal gland then releases the hormone called as cortisol, that is the stress hormone, which then affects the entire stress response cycle. So this is the hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis. So here any kind of stressors stimulates the hypothalamus, which then releases corticotrophin releasing hormone CRH, which then acts upon the pituitary gland and produces ACTH, adrenocorticotrophin hormone, and then the ACTH travels through the blood, reaches the adrenal gland and releases cortisol, which is then released into the bloodstream and gives this stress response, that is physiological stress response. So the first model of stress that we are going to see today is called as the Hans-Sayles model of stress. So Hans-Sayles model of stress is also called as general adaptation syndrome because it is the body's way of adapting physiologically to any kind of incoming stressors. There are 3 stages in this particular model of stress. First stage is called as the alarm reaction stage. Second stage is called as the resistance stage, and third stage is called as the exhaustion stage. So what is the alarm reaction stage? So as the name indicates, alarm reaction is something that's sort of an emergency response of the body. As soon as our body finds out that it is a stress, immediately the sympathetic nervous system of the body prepares us to cope with that particular stressor here and now. So the flight or fight response getting stimulated, that is, this flight or fight response is what we call as the physiological response to stress, that either prepares the body to flee the situation or protect ourselves from the dangerous situation. What kind of reactions that happen during this alarm reaction stages? The heart rate increases, adrenal gland releases cortisol, and there is a boost of adrenaline released into our body, which increases the energy, and this is the response that we see during the alarm reaction stage. What are the physical signs of being in the alarm reaction stage? The pupils will be dilated, the heart rate will be increased, there will be rapid breathing, trembling, pale or flushed skin, and the heightened senses will be present. The second stage is very important. It's called as a resistance stage. So resistance stage is when your body tries to repair itself after the initial shock of stress. After the stressful situation is no longer present and you can overcome the stress, the heart rate and blood pressure all will start to return to the pre-stress levels during this stage. But there is one catch to this. If the stressful situation continues for a longer period of time, or if we try not to resolve the stress, the body will receive a clear signal to normal functioning levels. This means it will continue to secrete the stress hormones and the blood pressure will stay high until the stress is there. So that is when the prolonged stress that is not resolved will lead to the third stage called as the exhaustion stage. So prolonged levels of high stress can lead to disturbance in immune system, digestive system, cardiovascular system, sleep and reproductive systems, which can be showing as symptoms of feelings of fear, anger, sadness, numbness. Sometimes it can show us as irritability, changes in appetite, energy levels or interest, stomach problems, headaches, body pain, skin rashes, sleeplessness, nightmares, or trouble concentrating and making decisions. The third and final stage of the general adaptation syndrome we call as the exhaustion stage. So this prolonged or chronic stress often leads to last stage of this general adaptation syndrome called as the exhaustion stage. In this stage, the body's response to both continuous and new stresses has been severely compromised because the body has endured so much. So the ability of the body to deal with that ongoing stressor has been gone down, and the ability to deal with the new stressor also has been severely compromised. So enduring these stressors without relief drains all the physical, emotional and mental resources to the point where the body is no longer able to cope with that stressor. The signs that any person is in the exhaustion stage include fatigue, burnout and decreased stress tolerance. I hope it was clear. So these are the 3 stages of general adaptation syndrome, also called as a Hans-Sayles model of stress, which is the body's physiological response to stress. It includes 3 stages: alarm reaction stage, resistance stage and exhaustion stage. Hope it was clear. Thank you so much. Meet you in the next class. யார் நடுவில்